Hello beautiful people, you're welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video, and if you're new to this channel, I say a very big welcome to you. Do well to hit that subscribe button to be part of this wonderful family, and turn on the bell beside it so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. You are welcome. So today I want to show you how to draft neckline dart bustier with shoulder. Okay, neckline dart bustier with shoulder. I have made a video where I showed how to draft neckline dart bustier off shoulder. So a lot of you requested for the one with shoulder as well. So this is it. Now I have placed the vertical measurements. This is the shoulder line, or the starting point. This is the bust point, that's from shoulder to your apex, the bust point, the under bust, the waist, and the full length of the blouse. Okay, so having done this, the next thing is to place the bust span. So for this neckline dart, it is nice that the width of your neckline lies at the same line with the bust span, because it is neckline darts. Okay, so I'll be placing the bust span starting from the starting point here. So the bust span is 4 inches, but I'll mark at 4.5. So you need a half inch to join the center piece to the other side. So I'll be marking 4.5. Okay. So now I'll connect. So just connect them. Just connect the points. So this is the bust span. Having done this, now we'll come to the under bust. On this side, I'll take 2 inches and 1 inch on this side. So if you're working for someone with smaller bust, you can take 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. But when the bust measurement is above average, from average and above, use 2 inches on this side and 1 inch on this side. So you might ask, how do you know if the bust span is above average? When you take your bust circumference, okay, the bust circumference minus the under bust circumference, if it's from 4 inches above, it is above average. So I've made a video on that. I explained in details on how to take your dart, okay, depending on the bust size. But when the bust circumference, after minusing the under bust from the bust circumference, you get from 3 inches below, it is small bust. So you take 1 inch on this side and 1 inch. So in this case, I'm taking 2 inches here and 1 inch here, and I'll mark it all the way down. 2 inches, 1 inch. So I'll just mark it all the way down, and I'll connect. Okay, so having done this, now you come to the bust point, step down by 1 inch, then you make a curve. So you connect from this point to this point using a curve, and on this side you also connect. Doesn't have to be curvy, you can make it straight, you can curve it if you like. So now we have this, we'll move up to the shoulder. So this is our shoulder, sorry, this is our neck width. Okay, so now you take your shoulder measurement. So just place your shoulder measurement starting from this point. In this case, the shoulder measurement is 7 inches plus half inch for joining the sleeve. That is 7.5. I would mark it. Now I will not place the shoulder, I will not place the armhole depth yet until when I'm done getting the dart for the shoulder. Okay, so now what you will do, from this point you connect to the bust point. Okay, from this shoulder you connect to the bust point. My ruler is broken, so let me use this one. just connect to the bust points. So this is it. By the time you connect, you can see you have our cup already. Having done this now, you will now transfer this shoulder measurement over to this side, okay, because we'll be cutting this out. So just measure what you have there so that I can create a new shoulder, 3 inches. So I'll just transfer it over to this point, to this side. Okay, so now we'll create our new shoulder. Having done this, from this point now, you come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. Okay, so you come down by 1 inch and connect it to this point here. So this is your shoulder, a new shoulder, and on this side you can create your neckline depending on how you want it. So by the time you have done this now, just place your armhole depth. So the armhole depth here is 8 inches. Okay, so I'll mark 8 inches and I would connect. So I have it here. Now, having done this, I'll also create my neckline depending on how you want your neckline. So I want the neckline to be 5 inches. But what I'll do is I'll just mark at 4 inches. Okay, so and on this side I'll mark at 5 inches. So I'll just curve it down. So that's how I want the neckline to be. You can create whatever neckline you want. You can make sweetheart neckline. That is, from this point you just come this way. Okay, have your sweetheart neckline, but I want mine to just curve like this. So I will just connect from this point to this point like so. Okay, so this is the neckline for the front. So let me just, I think I want it a bit lower than this, so I can just come in by ½ inch more. Okay, so just go this way. So this is okay. This is okay. So now, having done this, we'll create our armhole. So to create your armhole, you have to place your bust circumference on this armhole line, that is on this chest line. So the bust circumference here is 9 inches. So you have to measure. So by the time I mark at 9 inches, I'll just make a dot. I'll replace this dot. So I'll measure whatever I have here is ½ inch. I'll replace it. Then I'll add allowance that will get to after this armhole depth. Okay, so it's when you are shaping, after taking your dart, you can now shape it the way it should be. So I'll take 2.5 because I'll be using lining. So I'll take 2.5 inches for my allowance. Okay, so that is it. Then I'll measure what I have here, 8 inches, mark the midpoint. Then I'll come in by ½ inch. So at this point, you can take either ½ inch or 0.75. Even 1 inch is still okay. So just depending on what you want. So having done that, I'll connect it to this point. Then I'll create my armhole. Okay. So this is the armhole. So having done this now, I'll go ahead and place my horizontal measurement.
So before going ahead to place the horizontal measurements, let me just explain this to you. You can actually take the neck width of your choice. Yes. So you just do it the way you can see in the picture. Measure the neck width you want. Let's say 3 inches or 3.5. Then you connect it to the bust point as you can see in the picture. So me, I just want my neck width to be the same width with the bust pan. So that's how wide I want it to be. So that's why I took it that way. So if you don't want it that wide, you can actually reduce it. Just measure the neck width at this point. By the time you have drawn it this way, measure what you want, then connect to the bust point. Okay, so that is it. So now let's take our horizontal measurements.
I have the bust circumference already, so I'll go to the under bust. The under bust circumference divided by 4 is 8 inches. So you just mark your 8 inches, replace your dart. So this is 3 inches dart. I will replace it, and I use 2.5 inch 2.5 inches seam allowance. So let me take that again. 8 inches, replace my 3 inches dart, this is it. Then 2.5 inches seam allowance. Here it is, okay. Then at the waist circumference divided by 4 is 8.25. So I'll just mark the 8.25 and replace it by the 3 inches dart plus 2.5 inch seam allowance. That is 5.5. So let me just go straight ahead and do that. Okay, so I hope you understand the 3 inches dart and seam allowance replacements. That is dart replacement and seam allowance. Now at the hip circumference divided by 4 is 10 inches. 10 inches plus 3 inches dart and 2.5 inches seam allowance. That is 5.5. I'll mark it. So now I'll go ahead and connect. Okay, so from this point I will just connect. So just connect to the under bust, to the waist, and to the hip. Okay, so just blend everything out. So we have this shape because of the dart. By the time we take our dart, everything would relax well. Okay, so having done this, now it's time to cut. But before cutting, let me place my shoulder seam allowance. Okay, so I like placing the shoulder seam allowance for joining the shoulder, the front shoulder to the back shoulder. So just mark ½ inch from this point and ½ inch from this point. Okay, so you connect. So just connect and have it. Okay, so this is it. So now I'll go ahead and cut. So bear in mind that whatever allowance you're adding here should include what you're using to join this side to this side and your lining as well. Okay, so let me just smoothen out this point here. So let it not be sharp. Okay, so I'll just cut like so. So this is it. This is what I have here, as you can see. Okay, so by the time you join it, you have your bustier. So I'm looking at the neckline is a bit high, so let me just reduce it more. Okay, so let me just come down a little bit. So I'll come down here by 1 inch, and from here I'll still come down by 1 inch. So depend on what you want. So I just feel this is a bit high. Then you join it, it's a bit high for me, so let me just reduce it or go deeper. Okay, so I think this is okay now. Okay, so this is okay. This is okay for me. So now I'll transfer this on the fabric. So I have my fabric here. This is the lace, the satin that will be under the lace, and the lining piece. Okay, so the lining is a bit different, but this is what I could get. So I'll first of all cut this pattern on the satin before cutting on the lace. So I'll just cut on the lace using the satin. So I've cut my pattern on the satin. Okay, so I'll use it now to cut on the lace. I also have this one. Okay, so I'll cut on the lace. So I try to do it this way so that I can just open it up and place it wherever I want it to be on the lace. This is it for the center piece. I'll go ahead and cut the other ones. Okay, so this is what I have here. I've cut out everything and also cut out the lining piece. Okay, so I notched the bust points. I notch the bust point on the center front and the bust point on the side front. So the next thing to do now is go ahead and cut my wording for padding. So in most of the videos I've shown on Bustier, I've always shown how to cut your wording. So just to place your wording under it and cut. So let me do just that. This is how I place my wording, just a little bit under the under bust. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and cut. Then at the neckline, it shouldn't get to the neckline, so I'll stop like 1 inch before the neckline. So I can just fold it. So I can just fold it like 1 inch before the neckline, and I would mark. Okay, so this is how I'll go ahead to cut this one. Then for this one as well, so you see why it's good to notch the bust point, to help you align it so that everything would align. So for this one, I will cut it out to that point where I have this one. Okay, to this point. So I can just fold it there and go this way, and it will not get to the armhole. So it is okay here. So let me just cut it. By the time I'm done cutting, I'll just turn it and give it the shape that I want. So you can just notch the bust point of the wording as well. It's very important. Very, very important, so that by the time you shift it, you can know how to place it back. Okay, so this is it. So I know that this is where it is. I can just pin it there, and I turn to this other side. Like I said, I don't want it to get to the armhole and to the seam line, so I'll just trim it here. So this is just okay for this one. I want to reduce it a bit at this side. So this is okay for this one. Then I'll cut out this and use this one. That is, I'll use this one to cut for the other side. So I'm marking the bust point. So I'll just notch the bust point. And this is it for this one. Okay, let me just trim this side a little bit. I'm just pinning it down there. So I have for this side. Now I will remove this one and use it to cut for this other side. So I'll just place the visible side to the visible side like so. And I'll notch the bust point as well. So just match all the bust points. You can see. So you can see how I cut my wording, okay? So just match up all the bust points, then I'll go ahead and stitch. Then I'll stitch the lining and turn the neckline with the lining. And that is it for our front. So let me go ahead and do just that.
So here is the bustier. As you can see, I've stitched it together. You can see the cup area. Okay, so this is it, and in the other side, this is what we have. You can see the wording. So I've notched it. The next thing is to place my ironing board under it and give it a very good press, like I've shown in my previous videos. So you can see what we have here, and you can see the neckline, okay, and the darts. So the next thing to do now is to turn it with my lining. Yes, I've stitched the lining as well. So I would place the lining and I would stitch the lining at the neckline. Then I would turn it. Okay, so that is it, and our bustier would be ready. So this is it, and I hope you like this video. Please give it a like and share with your friends, and if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe. God bless you.